I'm really curious what movie that's from because what a random conversation there. I wonder if that would be your reaction if somebody said to you, I want to talk to you about joining the church. Don't be silly. Well, today is a very different service. Already we've done things in a different order, communion away at the beginning and healing prayer during the worship. And today we've got a message. I'm going to share a little part of it for a few minutes. Christine's going to go up and share for a few minutes, and I'm going to go up and share for another few minutes. And this is really a message aimed at everyone who comes regularly to Gateway, or you regard Gateway as your church home. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about how we're all in this together. Therefore, we should all be committed to one another and to this body. And so we're talking about commitment, personally committing to the church, and also committing financially to the church. So I know that if this is your first time at Gateway, or maybe your second time or whatever, I know that can be a bit awkward if the first time you turn up at a church, they're talking about money. Money, give us your money, we need some money. And you think, well, is this one of these churches that only talk about money? Well, we talk about money usually twice a year or something like that on special services, and we don't do it very often. But, we have to do it now and again because it's an important thing. And so if this is your first taste of the church, I assure you, we do not rant on and on about commitment and about volunteering and about giving money and all of that kind of stuff every week. We're just doing it this week, okay? This is the week we're doing it. So I want to start off by just talking about this idea of membership and joining a church. You will have noticed during church news today and last week that after the service today, we're asking those of you who are members to stay back just for 10 minutes because we have just one item that we need to, it's just a date that we're arranging, but because of the way our bylaws are written, we have to have the members vote to approve of moving this date of our annual general meeting. And so we need you people to stay behind if you're a member. If you are not a member and you were to peek through the door or to hang about, because it's not like we don't roll up a trouser leg, we don't have a special handshake, there's nothing really secret goes on, we just all know each other. So one of the things that you would discover is that we have a large congregation and a very small amount of members. And the reason is because in this day and age, a lot of Christians just don't see the need for membership. They don't see the importance of it. And I think it's because of the word membership itself and what it has come to mean. I don't know if you know this, but the word membership, nowadays, it's used of anything. You can become a member of a golf club. You can, when you sign up for a cell phone now, they don't call you a customer, they call you a member. And you get members' benefits and cheap movie tickets and things like that for being a member. And so we think of membership as just something you're signing up to and something that you're joining. It's a kind of official thing. And it doesn't really seem to apply very often to whether or not in the church you are really committed to God and really committed to His people. You could not be a member and be really committed to God and to the congregation, or you could be a member and not really be. So it just seems like a formal thing, and many people don't treat it that seriously. But you might not know this, but the word membership originally was only a Christian term. It wasn't used of joining other organizations. Because originally the word membership did not mean joining an organization. The word member simply meant the members of your body. You know how when they find a body in a bag and they say it's been dismembered, It's had its arms and legs taken off and things like that. So these are the members of your body. And it comes from a verse in, I think it's 1 Corinthians, Romans I'm putting up. It says, just as our bodies have many members, and each member has its own unique function. We talked about this last week. So it is with Christ's body. We are many members of one body, all belonging together, and each one of us with unique gifts that God has given us. So this is where the origin of the word membership comes from. It comes from the New Testament, where Paul, on 3 different occasions, likens the church to a human body. He says, Christ is the head, and we are all the members of the body. When you believe in Jesus, you become a part of the global church, of the body of Christ. And you have unique gifts and abilities that other people don't, and together we make up one body. That's the origin of the word membership. But as, Christianity spread and prevailed, this meaning of membership of a body, of an organization, of a church, it became a common word, and then it got applied to everything. Now it's applied, you can join anything and everything. You can become a member, and so it's lost its meaning. And because of that, a lot of churches are now beginning to use a different word, also found in the Bible, but a word instead of membership that might help explain it to other people, and that is the word partnership. Look at this, Philippians. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. Another verse says this, as for Titus, he is my partner and co-worker among you. Do you know when we are serving in the church, you could be an usher and you could have served communion to people today, or you could be in the cafe and you could have served a caramel macchiato to someone today, or you could be in the nursery and you could be serving parents by serving their children today, or whatever it may be. When we help out in the church in some way, when we become a co-worker, it's a sign that we are partners together. I've got another verse too that also uses the word. Luke 5:7. This is when Jesus performed the miracle of multiplying the fish, and they pulled the fish on board. And it says this, so they signaled to their partners in another boat to come and help them. And their partner said, we're not a member of that denomination. We're a member of the Third Baptist Church, so we're not coming to help you. No, they didn't say that at all. They said, we'll bring our boat and help you because we are all followers of the same Jesus Christ. Therefore, we are partners in this together. Sometimes there might be an area of the church that their nets are breaking. They need more help. And we might say, we need some people to help out in that area. And some other people will come and they will volunteer and they will add their strength, their gifts to that situation. That is us working together as partners. So, we've decided to do what a lot of other churches are doing and kind of follow suit. And instead of saying membership all the time, of course, it's, if you're a member, you're still a member. But we want to add this other word in, which might help illuminate membership, make it more than just a formal process. Yes, I'm a member now. For all of you people, most of you people, who attend here on a Sunday, who you might be part of small groups, you could serve in a team, you might even be one of our volunteer leaders, but you've never become a member before. But you obviously regard yourself as a partner of this church. You help, you get something from the church, you give something to the church. We're in it together, we're helping together, we're working together, we're partners together. And so, I want to just put up a slide that shows a slight difference between membership and partnership. Membership often means I pay my dues, I get my benefits. And that's basically it. It's a kind of formal agreement. But partnership tends to describe a little bit more. When we're talking about partnership, if you're not a member of this church, or if you haven't officially said, I am partnering together with this church, this is what it means. I believe in what God is doing in this community. And now that doesn't mean I approve of everything and everyone. That's not what it means. I mean, have you ever got irritated at somebody in your family? Did you pack up your suitcase and leave? Maybe you did, but you were 10 years old at the time, and then you grew up, And you thought, right, okay, right, they're my family. They irritate me sometimes, I irritate them, but we're in it together, okay? I believe in what God is doing in this community, and I want to identify as part of it. I am blessed by this church, and I want to be a blessing to this church. Now, if that's the way you feel about this church, then why on earth have you never become a member or a partner? All you're saying when you become a partner is you're saying, I identify Gateway as my church home. And I am saying I want to unite with Gateway with my presence. I want to show up at things and be here with my presence and also with my prayers. I don't just want to receive prayer when I need it, but I want to uphold this church in prayer too. A partnership. I identify Gateway as my church home. I unite with Gateway with my presence and with my prayers. And I support Gateway with my gifts, meaning my talents and so on, and with my giving, meaning my money and so on. So if that's the way, Scott, could you give me those cards up, please? They're just right there under my chair. If that is the way that if you already feel that way about Gateway, if you regard it as your church home, you attend, you pray for the church, you want to support and be part of the church, then we want to invite you to be a partner with us, to be a member with us. And one of the little cards, we've left 2 cards on your chairs today. One of the little cards says partnership card. In the back of it, it just says what it said on the screen there. And on the front of it, there's an opportunity, there's a place for you to write your name and phone number and email address and so on. And at the very end of this service, when we're passing the offering buckets, we're going to take up our tithes and offerings in, you can drop that card into the bucket. You can fill it out just during the service, and there'll be a space later on if you want for you to do that. So I want to really encourage you, if you already feel part of this church, if you feel it's your church home, just help us out here and let us know so that we know where we stand with you and you know where you stand with us, that we're in this together and that we can rely on one another to be part of the family. In a couple of minutes, Christine's going to go up and share a little bit about giving. Pastors, it's really easy for pastors to talk about money when they visit somebody else's church. But it's a bit awkward when you're in your own church. I don't know why that is, but there's just a feeling like that. Quite often the solution is pastors will bring in a visiting speaker to talk about money. Or in this case, my wife's going to do my job for me. But before she does, we're going to watch a little video clip. Because if you don't understand, why we need to contribute, to money. Maybe if you were a member and you saw the financial report every year, you would gulp and say, my goodness, I did not realize it cost so much to even just run the utilities and pay the mortgage on the place, never mind anything else. So here's a little video. We've shown it once before. We're going to show it again. And it's somebody's journey about how they came to realize the importance of giving, and then Christine will share. So let's watch this.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrea Fraser, for sharing that testimony. That really spoke to me about being faithful in little and having a revelation of that. And so often we go before God and we say, Lord, I'm doing everything I know to do. I've confessed all my sins. I've done everything. And the Lord's saying, you're not being faithful in little. You need to tithe. And we're saying, that was the devil. That couldn't have been you, Lord. But actually, basically, it's the law of sowing and reaping. Martin and I used to go down to Abundant Life Church. And when we came here, we actually took teams from here to Abundant Life Church, which is in Bradford in England. And one of the times that Martin and I travelled down there, we went down to a conference. It was just the 2 of us. And we had gone down to a local strip mall to get something to eat. So we were sitting in the car eating because we probably hadn't been tithing and wearing it in Abundant Life. So we were sitting in the car eating, not in a restaurant, eating in the car with our sandwiches. And we were looking up at this building. And I sat looking at it, and Martin was reading all the information about this conference and how many people were coming and from what countries they were coming from Sweden and Germany and all over Europe to come to this conference. And I sat there and looked at it, and I watched as the coach loads of people arrived. And all I could think about was, how long is the lifespan of a door hinge? And the handle, and all the mechanisms of the door, and the key, and the carpet, and the light bulbs. I mean, that's what you think about when you're the pastor's wife. And also then, as if that wasn't bad enough, you go into the ladies' washrooms, and the ladies are pulling out the toilet paper, wrapping it round their arms. And I mean, honestly, ladies in washrooms with toilet paper, it would take you all to tithe to keep us up in that. But you know, the Lord really spoke to me about this. And I sat there and I watched these loads of people. And then when we actually got up there and walked in and saw all of the staff and all of the people and all of the preparation, because when you're involved in church, you know what is behind all of the preparation. So we went into the meeting and sat down, and Pastor Paul Scanlon, who was the lead pastor there then, got up to share about the very thing that I had just had a revelation of, about how long a light bulb's lifespan is, how long the door mechanisms will last, how much it costs to keep a building like that running. And I couldn't believe it. I said, Martin, I'm absolutely blown away. And he said that, well, the Lord is obviously laying something on your heart here. You know, and quite often when you tithe, you kind of fall off the bandwagon. And you don't notice it first. It's a bit like when you take vitamins, or vitamins, I think you would call them here. And it takes a while for them to build up a resistance in your body. It's the same thing with tithing. It takes a long while for the devourer to absolutely devour your income to the point of where there's nothing. You're going to the bank and you're putting your bank card in and the machine's laughing at you. You know, you must be joking, as if you're going to get any more money out. You can't get blood out of stone. So anyway, Paul Scanlon spoke about not only the running of the building, but he spoke about the family, the helpers, being part of the family, being part of the body is being part of the family, and about serving. And actually the thrust of his message that day was about others. It was all about going out and bringing in others into the house, into the storehouse, into the family home, to meet the rest of the family and to contribute. When I was growing up, my mum was a very shrewd business lady. She owned a business, which we all worked in. And in our home, there was a big red housekeeping purse. Now, we call a wallet a purse. So my mum would say, I'm going to give you a job in the shop, and I'm going to give you money, and then I'm going to take it back away from you, and I'm going to put it into the housekeeping purse. And I always thought, I think they'll stop this when it gets to me, because I was the youngest of 4 girls. And I was pretty convinced that the purse didn't actually look like that, but it felt like that to me. I used to talk to my friends about it. I had this friend called Rita, and I used to tell her about the housekeeping purse. And she used to say, I imagine this thing to be up in the attic, and it's a big angry thing. I don't know if you've ever seen Little Shop of Horrors and the Audrey 2. That was what it reminded her of. Could you put that up, please? That was what the housekeeping purse was like. It was a big angry thing. And my mum, I remember, and I hope she does not hear this, I really do, because she denies this to this day. But she used to pay us, and I would work on a Saturday, and she would pay me £30. And then she would take 15 of it away, and I'm like, that's 50%. That's not really fair. But you know, I had always seen my sisters do this, and I saw how they contributed in the family to the family purse, and how smoothly it all worked, and how blessed we all wear as a result of it. And I want to encourage you as a family to give, because honestly speaking, when we hold on to our tithe, our 10%, it's a bit like holding on to bitterness. It's the same as when the Lord says, don't be bitter, forgive people, forgive them their sins. It's not for their good, it's for your good. The tithe is for our own good, our own personal good. We have literally seen what has come out of tithing. And you know, the enemy will get you to a point where he will tell you, he'll convince you that you can't afford to tithe. We honestly can't afford not to tithe. I mean, it is funny the way that this has gone, because I've known for weeks that I was going to speak about this. And we have fallen off the bandwagon recently. We've gotten into a place, it was a fresh start for us when we came here, and we had no credit history, and between one thing and another, things have piled up to the extent of where we thought we'll sell the car, we'll sell the big van. So we got it all detailed, it's all shiny, all sparkly, ready for sale. What did I do the other day there? I rear-ended someone in it. But thankfully, the Lord has answered our prayers, because we have been on our knees saying, Lord, please wipe the slate clean. Help us to make a fresh start. The car actually sold yesterday. We had to knock a bit of money off of it, but it sold. But God will wipe the slate clean. He's not saying, I want all the back money, all the back tithes that you owe me. Just forget it. Just start today. And I can assure you, you will be blessed. And as a family, as a church family, we will be absolutely blessed. Thank you, people. We're just going to watch a short video now. Thank you.
You know, quite often, well, in a few places in the Bible, it says, do not put the Lord your God to the test. But there's one place, that scripture in Malachi, where God says, put me to the test. He says, bring your tithes and offerings into the storehouse. You know, in the Bible, there's tithes and offerings and alms. 3 different kinds of giving. When you give to alms, is when you give to the poor, when you give to the needy. That would be like giving to the benevolent fund, or giving to help someone that's in financial need, or giving to World Vision or Compassion International or something. When we're helping other people who are less fortunate than us, that is alms. An offering could be anything. There's a need for people to rally together, to give money together, to help a cause. It could be a special offering in the church. It could be a ministry that you support outside of the church, or an organization, and so on. But the word tithe, it's an old-fashioned word now, tithe, and it simply means 10%. Now, I know that sometimes people think 10%, that's a lot of money. You're giving the government a heck of a lot more than that, and they ain't doing much good with it, I can assure you. All of the bureaucracy, all of the red tape, all of the people who have invented jobs that don't really exist so that they can be paid by the government, that's where your taxes are going to. Jesus said, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar, and render unto God the things that are God's. All he was saying was, pay your taxes and pay your tithes. And so that word, it says there, if you will tithe, test me in this, says God. Try it and see. God's saying, try it. You'll like it. Try it and see. What I will do is I will open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing so that your crops will be abundant and the devourers will not eat it. Think of it this way. If you were a farmer, you plant the seed in the field. That's like giving your tithes. You plant the seed in the field. And then the rain comes and waters the seed. That's like God sending his blessings into your life. And then the crops grow. That is God beginning to bless you. Listen, see, when we preach about salvation and forgiveness of sins, is it because we're trying to take salvation away from you, or because we're trying to get salvation to you? Which one is it? Trying to get it to you. See, when we preach about healing, is it because we're trying to take your health away from you? Or is it because we're trying to bring healing to you? But see, when we talk about money, people think they're trying to take my money away from me. We're trying to get money to you. You're holding this so tight, but if you threw it away and held a big basket, he would open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing so great there is not room enough to receive it, and he will rebuke the devourer. He will rebuke the devourer. You know, it's like, oh, I got my tax rebate, $2,000, it's great. Half an hour later, bang, what was that? My furnace blew up. Well, I guess we know what we're spending this on then. The devourer has just devoured. Wouldn't it be great to be a financial partner with God? And so that's what tithing is about. But I realize that some people, that is like too huge a leap. So what we've done in the second card here is we've called it a commitment card, and we've got 3 challenges for you. Can you put on my first slide here? Here's some facts and statistics. You saw that thing about 9%. We're not quite so bad, but it's still pretty bad. Only 12% of our attendees give anything at all, even 1 cent, on your average Sunday. Now, if we weren't a church, if we were a movie theater or a restaurant, do you think we could survive if only 12% of the customers paid? I don't think we could. Most of those people who give only give about 1.7% of their income. Now, I don't know what your income is. I don't look up the lists to see who's giving or anything like that. We just know that based on the housing areas that our people come from and what the government statistics say is the average income in those housing areas. 1.7% of their income. Even if we were to factor in monthly givers, only approximately 30% of the people who come here in any given month give anything at all. That means 70% of you never give a flipping cent to the church. Seriously, seriously. I don't usually use guilt, but today I am. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you come here regularly and you don't give a damn cent to the church, there's something wrong somewhere, don't you think? So, and even the 30% who do give, most of them give less than 2% of their income. Now, I realize we're all at different stages in our spiritual journey. I also realize that you might be going through bankruptcy proceedings in court right now and you're saying, I'd give money if I had. Or you might be going through a marriage breakup or you're a single. I understand there's all kinds of circumstances. So, there are 3 different challenges on our card. In fact, I think have I got some more? This is it. Here we go. The first one is the 1% challenge. Do you know if everyone who came to Gateway only gave 1% of their income, we would have way, way, way more money than we have now? I mean, slap yourself in the face, will you, and say, come on, wake up, 1%. I mean, for every $100, a loony. If everyone only gave 1%, we would have more money than we did now. So if you don't give at all, what if those who don't give regularly made a decision, just in your own heart, between you and God, that from now on, I am going to give 1% of my income. That's it, 1%. That would make a huge difference. We wouldn't need to be asking for money. We wouldn't be saying that the church bank account is saying, feed me, I need more money. The budget would be met. We would be able to do all the things that we need to do. I want to challenge you, if you're not a regular giver, to start to give 1% regularly. Or if you do give, maybe a bit haphazardly, why don't you increase what you're giving by 1% of your income? You might give 1% just now. Put it up 1%, give 2%. If that is as much as you can handle. In the video, the testimony video from Andrea, she said that at first she just gave $20. That was all. It wasn't even a tithe. But it felt good. It wasn't as scary as she thought. And that was how she began to then tithe. Maybe you are a giver to the church. Maybe you don't really work out how much you give, but you do give regularly. And you're thinking, I'm going to take that challenge. I'm going to take the challenge that God says, bring the tithes into the storehouse, into the church, into the temple, the house of God. I am going to take the 10% challenge, and I'm going to start to tithe from now on. Try it for 3 or 4 or 5 months, whatever. God says, test me in this. I bet you your 90% stretches further than your 100% used to stretch. I know that from experience. I know times when I've been tithing consistently, and then if I've fallen back and stopped, the 100% gets used up quicker than I don't know how it all works. All I know is God brings blessings, bargains, and the right people across your path at the right time. So if you can just take a baby step, the 1% challenge, that's great. If you could take 10 baby steps, the 10% challenge, that's great too. There's one final challenge. It's not the one we're focusing on today. We will focus on it next year, actually. But we're working right now. We're working with the district office and so on. We need more space in this building. We talked about a mezzanine, and now we're looking at the possibility of building an addition onto the building and how much it will cost, and working with the district office in that. But it's going to cost a lot of money, and it will be another year before we launch this properly, but we want to at least have a capital fund set up so that we can put money away for building an extension. And what we are hoping is between this year's tax returns and next year's tax returns, and we're going to really push it next year, if 100 people in the church were prepared to give $1,000 from their tax return to the capital fund, that means when we start to build, we will have $100,000 like that as a down payment to begin our capital fund and to enable us to build. Now, I don't know how many of you are prepared to do that this year. If 20 people did that this year, that means as we get to the beginning of next year, we would be asking for 80 people to do it. If 30 people do it this year, we'll be asking for 70 next year. It would be great if some of you could rise to the challenge this year. It won't be spent on anything else. It will go in a special building fund, separate, and be kept until that building time. But that's the opportunity for a one occasion, special, larger gift. But the first two are the ones that we're focusing on an ongoing basis. Are you prepared to accept the 1% challenge? Or the 10% challenge? Or could you be one of the people that start the ball rolling with our capital fund challenge? Again, we've got a little commitment card here for you to write down and tick. I'm accepting the 1% challenge or the 10% challenge. Can I just tell you, although it's saying put your name and address here, I just want you to know something. We really value privacy. Like we don't sit and go through these and say, oh, hold on a minute, 4 months ago, Mitch McDougall signed this 10% challenge, and we know how much he gets paid because he works for the church. So we're going to have a look at his offering envelopes and say, we don't do any of that. This is between you and God. If you never give another dollar for the rest of your life, that's between you and God. And the elders won't turn up at your front door and ask you for money or anything like that. You know, Drake will still preach at your funeral when you die, okay? But the signing the card is really for you, because I find that sometimes I make a decision, you know, like New Year's resolutions, but you've just made it quietly inside yourself. But see, sometimes when you actually put a stake in the ground, you're like, I need to do it. I need to do it now, you know. I've said I would do it. I've told others I will do it. I've signed my name and said I will do it. And it can help you to keep your commitments. So I really want to encourage you to take one of these challenges today, to start giving 1% or to up your giving by 1%, or to take the 10% tithe challenge. And I'm hopeful that some of you, maybe many of you, will begin with the capital fund with your tax refund as well. I'm also hoping that those of you who love Gateway and feel a part of it will fill out the membership cards. What we're going to do is Paul Woida is going to come back up on the platform. He's going to minister to us and music just now. We're going to lift the house lights just a little bit so that you can get pens and so on out. And if you want to get your cards prepared, if you've not got your offering envelope prepared, you could get it prepared. And then once everyone's prepared and Paul's finished, I'm going to come back up and I'm going to lead us all in a prayer together. And as we take up our offering, as the ushers pass the offering buckets, you can drop these cards into the same offering buckets along with the offering envelopes. Don't drop your communion cups in that bucket, okay? Pick up your communion cup at the end of the service, and the ushers will have a bucket at the door. Drop it in there on the way out. But I want to encourage you as you're putting in your offering to take these challenges. Come on, we want to partner with you, you know? And it's like, don't leave us hanging. It's kind of like the guy's down on his knee and he's saying to the bride, will you marry me? And she's like, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. You know, just yay or nay would do, you know? And the same with these challenges. So go ahead, get your cards, your envelopes ready, and Paul, you take it away. Did you not win something recently? You're always winning something. Did I not see you somewhere winning something?
Yeah.
What was it?
Well, yeah, I was in the top 3 for the United Way kind of big showcase competition thing. That was the most recent one. I've been winning a lot of stuff. Yeah.
We're wanting 10% of your album sales. Just want to get that. Let's all stand up together, shall we? Take your envelopes and take your cards in your hand. We're going to put a prayer up on the screen. We've done this one before. I like this prayer. Stole it from a preacher in England that I saw doing it. He did it. Because one of the things that it focuses on, I know somebody told me once they thought it sounded a bit greedy, you know, but remember Jacob and Esau? Remember Jacob grabbed the blessing? He went after the birth. Maybe we should grab some of the blessings that God's got for us. So we're going to say this prayer, and we're saying it realizing that as we tithe and give our offerings to God, we're partnering with God financially, and He's kind of like now obliged Himself to take care of us and to look after us. So we're saying it in faith. So we're going to hold these in our hands, your cards and your envelopes. We're going to say this together. And then after we've said this, we're going to have a closing praise song. And during that closing song, we sing, Build Your Kingdom Here. We're going to sing. The buckets are going to get passed. Put your envelopes in. Put your cards in. My goodness, if you feel like it, just throw your credit card in. Your wife's purse, whatever you want, just put it all in. Are we ready? Do we need to stand back? Can you all see this? Right, let's say this together. Hold your stuff up and wave it about. The Bible talks about a wave offering. Do a wave offering, right? Okay, let's go. Let's say this affirmation together. 1, 2, 3. As we tithe and bring our offerings to God today, we are believing for jobs and promotions, raises and bonuses, sales and commissions, interest and income, checks in the mail, gifts and surprises, bills paid off, debts demolished. It's offering time. Hallelujah. Come on, give God a praise. He loves a cheerful giver. Ushers, let's take up our offerings and let's praise God together, church. Come on.
Build your kingdom.